Hey guys, Mr. Mackey here. Now yesterday we started graphing week and I was showing you the different equations for linear graphs and how to create a set of coordinates for those graphs. Now, I set you this challenge yesterday where I had 3 sets of coordinates and I want you to find which one of those coordinates belongs to this equation. So, let's do the first one. Let's do 4 and 26. So what we do is we replace the x with a 4, so that becomes 5 brackets 4 plus 6. 5 times 4 is 20, add 6 gets you 26, which should be the y coordinate. Does it work? Yes. So now we know that A is the coordinate that works. Now, I also asked you to tell me why those 2 coordinates, which now we can conclude do not work with this equation, why they do not work. What kind of mistakes did people make? So let's substitute 5 with 5 plus 6. 5 times 5 is 25 plus 6 equals 31. What this person could have done is instead of adding 6, they might have minus 6 by accident, and as a result they would have gotten 19, which is why this one doesn't work. For the final one, 6 and 41, so let's do 5 brackets 6 plus 6. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 6 equals 36, so it doesn't match. But how they could have gone 41 by accident is they might have done 6 times 6 and added 5 instead. They might have just got the numbers mixed up, which is why this coordinate doesn't work. Now for today's video, we're going to be using what we learned in yesterday's video. We have how we find coordinates, and we're going to use that knowledge to actually plot and create our own linear graphs. Now for today's video, we're going to be going downstairs to the creative room. And I told you yesterday what equipment you need, but I'll remind you about that in just a second. But never mind about this, let's go downstairs. See you there. Welcome back to the creative room, guys. Now, we're going to do some graphing now. And for this, we're going to need 4 things. Firstly, we're going to need a pencil, because drawing graphs is quite complicated and quite easy to make a mistake. So you'll need a pencil so you can rub that mistake out. And that's when we go to the second thing, you're going to need a rubber. Because if you make a mistake, it's always good to have one to rub it out so it looks a bit neater. The third thing you're going to need is the ruler. Now the ruler is how we can prevent most mistakes from happening. Because when we draw linear graphs, they're always going to be a continuous straight line. And the ruler can make it as accurate as possible. If you don't use a ruler, it's not going to be straight, it's not going to be as accurate, and it's going to be messy. So you're going to need a ruler. Now the final thing we're going to use is some squared paper. Now this is probably the hardest one to find. If you haven't got any square paper, use a blank sheet of paper for now. But it's always handy to use squared paper because your maths books will usually have squared paper in them. And there will be square paper lying around. The reason why is because it's easier to find the coordinates and the best places to put them. And it also can make you draw straighter lines. So you can definitely make sure the lines are continuous. So get those 4 things ready, and then let's go over to our table and let's start drawing our graphs. Now, before we start drawing our graphs, we have to know the actual coordinates we're going to be putting on that graph. And that's why we're going to use these tables. We're going to focus on this one first. We're going to do this one a little bit later. So, for this table, we have our x coordinate, find our x coordinates, and we have found our y coordinates. I've done this for you just to save a bit of time. And we have y equals 2x plus 1. In case you're wondering how you found those coordinates, let's just imagine there's an extra box here with a 6. What you did is you do 2 times 6, add 1, and that will get us 13. So that's how we did it. Now, to label these as coordinates, you do the x coordinate first, which in this one is 0, then the y coordinates, which is a 1, and then shut the brackets. 1, 3, 2, 5, 3, 7, 4, 9, 5, 11, and 6, 13. Now we know the coordinates we're going to label, we can now put them on our graph. Now this is a graph, this is an axis. Now you're probably wondering, where do we put our x coordinate and where do we put our y coordinate? Well, how we style it is our x goes along the corridor and the y goes up the stairs. So our x coordinates will always go on these and the y coordinates will always go on those. So let me show an example with 0 and 1. So our x coordinate goes nowhere along the corridor, so we start here, but it goes up the stairs once. So we're going to put a little mark there. So I'm going to tick that one off because now we've done it. Next one, the x goes along the corridor once and up the stairs 3 times. So we go there. The x goes along the corridor twice, but up the stairs 5 times. Along the corridor 3 times and up the stairs 7 times. Along the corridor 4 times, up the stairs 9 times. Along the corridor 5 times, up the stairs 11 times. And because we just did that one together, it goes along the corridor 6 times and up the stairs 13 times. Now, we've done a series of dots. Now, when you were younger, you might have done some dot-to-dot puzzles. This is all you have to do. You join the dots together in one continuous straight line. And for this, you're going to need your pencil and your ruler. You start with the first and you continue. You don't stop, you just carry on. Because this linear sequences go on forever. So linear graphs will go on forever. It doesn't matter that we've only done those set of coordinates. Because of those set of coordinates, we have managed to get a line that will carry on forever and ever and ever, thanks to the information we've been given. And that is how you draw a linear graph with a linear table. Now this one's a bit more different because we're using negative coordinates. So we have our positive x's to get our y's, and we have our negative x's to get our y's as well. We have the equation y equals 5x minus 3. I have found you the x and y coordinates for you. You should know how to do it by now. Now we need to find them as actual coordinates. So the first one will be negative 4 and negative 23. Negative 3, negative 18. Negative 2, negative 13. Negative 1, negative 8. 0 and negative 3. 1 and 2. 2 and 7. 3 and 12. And 4 and 17. Now that we have those coordinates, we can plot them on this graph. The reason why this graph looks so different to the one we did before is because this one only looked at positive x coordinates and positive y coordinates. In this one, we have both negative x coordinates and negative y coordinates. So we're going to need to consider this whole graph. Now, I always like to start with 0 because and then work on the positives, then work backwards towards the negatives. It's because these are the easiest coordinates to label because we just did them. So for the first one, we go along the corridor 0, but we go down the stairs by 3 because there's a negative. So there's our negative 3. We circle it there. The next one, we go along the corridor once, but up the stairs twice. Mark that there. Along the corridor twice, but up the stairs 7 times. Along the corridor 3 times, but up the stairs 12 times. And then along the corridor 4 times, but up the stairs 17 times. So we'll end up here. Now, this is when it might get complicated. For the negatives, we have to go in the opposite direction. So when we originally went along the corridor to the right, because it was positive, when we go along the corridor with negatives, we are going left. So we're going along the corridor left 1, because it's negative, but down the stairs 8. So we find our negative 8. Here we go. Next one is along the corridor negative 2, but down the stairs 13. Along the corridor negative 3, down the stairs to negative 18. And for the final one, I haven't got enough room for my negative 23. That shows us that even though we have one coordinate we can't put on, we can still create a line with this, can't we? And that's what we're doing. So we get our ruler and we join the points together. Like that. And we've done it. And that is how you can create linear graphs using linear equations. Well, that was fun. I really enjoy drawing linear graphs. I know they're complicated when you first try them, but they do become easy. Trust me, I found them difficult when I was younger. Now, your challenge for today is I want you to draw a linear graph like that, but this time with the equation 5 minus 2x. 5 minus 2x. And I want you to use a suitable set of coordinates. So if you wanted to use the first 4 in the x-axis and then however many on the y-axis, it's absolutely fine. I'm going to be doing it with 0 to 4 and 0 to -4 on the x-axis. So between -4 and 4. That's what my coordinates are going to outline. If you want to do something similar, that's absolutely fine. The equation is y equals 5 minus 2x. See how you do? I'm looking forward to doing more of graphs tomorrow. And here's a question for you. Does anyone know what the word gradient means? We'll hear more about that tomorrow. Good luck, and let's see how you do.